My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Boy, I tell you what, it's just been so exciting getting the emails and the messages that I've been getting lately as an increasing, ever growing number of people are coming to understand the truth of covenant eschatology. And to those of you who have been contacting me, telling of your spiritual journey, your discovery of the truth of covenant eschatology, thank you. Thank you so very, very much. Well, we are looking at the fact that Paul, in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, said his resurrection doctrine would be the fulfillment of Old Testament promises made to Old Covenant Israel. We have examined Isaiah. We are looking at Hosea, and I want to tell you, we're not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on Hosea because, that could get really, really long. But I want to share something else with you. In the first lesson about Hosea and the connection with 1 Corinthians 15, I talked about Paul using an inclusio. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 to 3, and 1 Corinthians 15, 54 through 56. Now, to a Hebrew reader or listener, as the case might be, they would understand that the book of Hosea was playing a vital, integral role in Paul's resurrection doctrine. I would suggest to you, since Paul says that his resurrection doctrine would fulfill Hosea 13:14, that means that the death of Hosea is the death of 1 Corinthians 15. Now the question would be, if not, why not? So the question is, did Hosea predict the raising of biological human bodies, decomposed bodies, out of the dust at some supposed end of time? Or did he have some other kind of death in mind? Well, let's read Hosea. Hosea chapter 13, which is Paul's source of resurrection doctrine in 1 Corinthians 15. Hosea said, "When Ephraim spoke trembling, he exalted himself in Israel. But when he sinned in Baal, he died. And yet he sins more and more." Wow. You have dead men sinning. That's kind of tough, isn't it? What kind of death is Hosea describing? It is a covenantal death. They violated covenant. They lost fellowship with God, exactly like in Genesis, Adam and Eve broke covenant with God. The covenant was, you can eat every fruit of every tree that you want. Of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will not eat. And it's absolutely amazing that right here in Hosea chapter 6, verse 7, like Adam, they have sinned. Now some translations say, like men they have transgressed. That's not the point. Like Adam, they have sinned. And so in Hosea, we have the very kind of death that Paul is focused on, unless Paul is redefining the death of Hosea. Unless Paul is simply using the language of Hosea without meaning that the resurrection that he's discussing would actually fulfill Hosea. But that's not what he says. The resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 would be in fulfillment of Hosea. The resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 would be to overcome the death from which the resurrection prophecy in Hosea would deliver. But the death that Hosea is concerned about is covenantal death, loss of fellowship. Therefore, the resurrection in 1 Corinthians 15 is about the overcoming of spiritual death, covenantal death, loss of fellowship. Paul is perfectly consistent. And this proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that he is not talking about some proposed end of time or end of the physical cosmos. He is focused on, like a laser, the end of the old covenant world of Israel, as we will demonstrate on the flip side. Now, in the meantime, I've produced a 30-lesson MP3 series on Hosea. This 30-lesson series documents over 22, I think the last count I had, direct parallels between the book of Hosea and 1 Corinthians15. This is absolutely amazing stuff. It will blow your mind to see that not only does Paul, cite Hosea chapter 6 in 1 Corinthians 15, 1-3, and also in 1 Corinthians 15, 54-56, but you will see that it also echoes the themes and the motifs of Hosea over and over and over again. Wow, it's incredible stuff. You can order this by contacting me through the website, ordering it through my website, donkpreston.com, or BibleProphecy.com. So go there and order this material on Hosea, the source of Paul's resurrection doctrine. We will see you on the flip side.